hoping other folks will show up. Let's go ahead and do the flag salute. Director Lisa Sanchez.
Present.
Okay, and Attorney Bill Parkman, present. Waiting for Director McArdle. Okay. First portion of the meeting is going to be for public comments. Do either of you gentlemen have anything?
Well, like I mentioned to Bill before I walked in, Zach wrote an email on Saturday, October 30th, talking about, especially about the differences, highlighting the differences between the current District 1 and District 2, relative to like comparing Indian Wells Valley to Tehachapi and advocating that China Lake and Edwards ought to be in two different districts, and I agree with that premise.
Here's a second one that came out today.
Okay, I guess I didn't
So
see that.
you'll see it when you check your email.
Yeah.
I just saw it and didn't have a chance to open it up myself to take a look at it.
So I printed all these out, but I haven't made a lot of comparisons. But in general, I still feel pretty strongly that 1 and 2 ought to be separate somehow. I don't know if they were the exact ones, but I think they ought to be separate. Two different districts.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think making him one is impossible for one person to cover adequately.
Oh yeah.
It's just too much territory.
Yeah.
Physically to have appearance at some of the meetings, it's just too vast a distance.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well,
too.
and the other part of it, the part that's not talked about at this point on that I see, is you're basically creating a new District 2, which is part of the metropolitan Bakersfield area. And that coupled with a great big District 1, it tells me that District 1 is still going to get basically only one share of the pie, just like before. But now they have to split that pie between District 1 and their new portion, District 2, the old District 2.
We're gonna suffer.
They're hard pressed to take care of all the needs of Districts 1 and 2 right now with the current structure of the budget.
And no community in East Kern has come out in favor of merging into one district. All the people that are here want to either keep it the same or make the district smaller.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if anybody in the current District 1 would want to somehow make it huge either. I mean, they're going to be less represented.
Have you heard anything about District 1's comments? Public comments, John?
Yes,
What is
yes.
their public comments in District 1?
They like it the way it is.
Yeah, looks like Plan A is the closest way to keep it the same without moving too much.
Well, they're going to have to do some adjustments to Plan A.
Yeah.
And because there's still a little bit of a disparity between the amount of population in each of those areas. And so
So at the
it'll get
meeting,
tweaked a
Zach,
little bit. They
Zach
talked
had
about that.
requested that it actually be for the metropolitan area of Bakersfield, that they go ahead and cut off a section of the metropolitan Bakersfield that's in District 2 and give that to District 1 to make up the reference for the lost numbers.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
So that's the new one that came out
Oh,
today.
okay.
Yeah, he
it's,
literally wants to just move
yeah,
that
when you,
metropolitan area down a little bit.
when you look at the maps, it's a little hard to tell the differences. I haven't gone through all the details, other than obviously B is the one that combines them all.
Mhm.
You want to do that, but these others, there's A2, A, C, and D. Are, when you look at the maps, are similar, but we have to go through
Yeah,
the
the
details, I
The problem I have with D is the fact that it basically gives the whole western side of the county all the power.
guess.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be a lot of 4-1 votes.
Yeah, I think B is scratch that immediately. Yeah.
What I'm not clear on is who are the people that want to change it?
That group is the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund, MALDEF. They're the
Okay.
ones that filed a lawsuit in April 2016, stating that the structure of the districts in the county, I guess to use a term I learned in history, is gerrymandered. And so it didn't provide adequate representation for all groups and such.
Where are they? What district are they in now?
Well, most of them are in, right now, I would say probably 3 and 4. And with the proposed change that they have in that, you're basically, there's a little recreational area, I guess it's Kern River Valley. It almost looks like that's all this District 3 is. But I'm sure it has some residential areas down below it. But they mentioned at the meeting that they had expanded into the River Valley at the request of the residents of Kern Valley.
That'd be Woodford Heights, Kernville, Lake Isabella. that whole area.
Bill, question, is your intent for the letter and so on to specifically recommend a specific map, or to put in general things like, Zach had like in his first email as far as, here's why we think things should be separated or something
Well,
like
I
that?
have a draft letter here written.
Yeah.
Based on the feeling I had from the meeting when we went to Bakersfield, as well as people I have talked to in the community about, are they happy with the current arrangement? And a lot of people aren't, but they'll be less happy when there's only one supervisor here. Because they are able to see that handwriting that's on the wall that basically East County will be an afterthought.
Yeah.
And so I have a draft letter written here, and I have an extra copy or two that I can give you and John.
We could share.
But it is only a draft.
Yeah, but I was just wondering if you had the feel, because I looked through all the stuff online, and there's a fairly lengthy schedule and so on, and then they say, well, you can submit, either your from the public, either your preference for a specific map, or you can submit your own map, and you can submit comments and so on. And I'm trying to sort out, how specific should we get or not get, or even if the Rmac does put a letter in, which I think is a good idea, I don't mind putting something in, but I'm just trying to sort out what the flavor of that ought to be, I guess,
Okay.
how specific we ought to be.
Well, let me go ahead and read this draft letter into the record. Dear Supervisor Scrivener, the Rosamond Municipal Advisory Council met with the members of the Rosamond community, both business and residential, and the most preferred option is Plan A, which is essentially a population-adjusted version of the current makeup of the county that was in place before the federal judge's ruling on February 23rd, 2018, on a lawsuit brought by the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund, MALDEF, in April 2016. The district court judge found the then current county district plan unlawful and ordered new lawful plans be made for the election of county supervisors. This brings us to today with 4 plans for the supervisor districts of Kern County. It should be noted that the county's population has not greatly changed since that court ruling. Therefore, it appears prudent to only make minor adjustments in the boundaries between the districts to achieve population balance based on the 2020 census. The benefit to all is reduced disruption to the Board of Supervisors and all of the communities of Kern County, and in turn ensure the proper governance of the districts. While Rmac understands the goals of MALDAF, the wholesale changing of the districts appears to be counterproductive to the stabilization efforts this county must undertake in the 2020 to 2030 time period. Specifically, these are: East Kern Districts 1 and 2 are projected to grow significantly in this time frame, and revenues generated from the procurement, installation, and implementation of green energy from solar and wind power. The lands to be used to support this conversion will supplant existing agricultural use and open desert spaces. This will also impact the quality of life for residents if a strong referee does not exist in county government to prudently manage these assets. With the concurrent banning of fracking, the fervor to reduce reliance on fossil fuels, and the aforementioned state of California advocated green energy programs, revenues from the petrochemical industry will eventually prove to be inadequate to maintain funding for all areas of the county. The majority of the petrochemical industry is in western Kern County, and it competes with agriculture for resources. With the drawdown of the petrochemical industry, the western portion of the county will invariably experience hardship and population loss. Kern County as a whole, like the rest of the state of California, is in a state of extreme drought. The county needs to focus on locating and/or procuring additional water resources to support residential, commercial, and agricultural needs. As the supply of water continues to decrease, the viability of desalination plants becomes ever more obvious. A strong county government will be needed to investigate and perhaps jointly partner with a coastal county for the construction of said plants. The location of China Lake, NAS in District 1 and Edwards Air Force Base in District 2 further argues for a continuation of the two district supervisors to maintain relationships between communities and the military, and to strengthen those bonds for the benefit of both the military and the residents of East Kern. Educators and the East Kern Economic Alliance both recognize and see future opportunities that come with the relationship to two of the military's largest bases. If the base realignment and base closure comes through for another round of hearings, Kern County could be ill prepared to present their case to keep both bases in East Kern. The resultant closure of either China Lake or Edwards Air Force Base would have disastrous consequences for Ridgecrest or Rosamond. The continued growth in the size of China's military, it currently has the largest navy in the world, its hegemonical relationship with other countries in Southeast Asia, its desire to supplant the United States as the leading economic power in the world, argues that the growth in defense spending in procurement, manufacturing, repair, and upgrade of equipment makes it especially important to preserve and maintain all military assets and to encourage their expansion to meet that threat and the threat that Russia is now telegraphing to our defense establishment. As a final point, look at how much military land has reverted to civilian use in all of the coastal counties in northern and southern California. we are rapidly becoming the home for the defense establishment. Rosamond, the southeast community in Kern County that interfaces with the County of Los Angeles, started seeing a buildup in the pressure for more affordable housing in 2016 that continues to this date. While figures are not readily available to identify how much population growth is coming for this area, it is evident with the construction of housing from 2016 to present and the rapid rising values of residential and commercial property augur that bigger changes are coming for Rosamond. Homes in Rosamond are currently $50,000 to $100,000 less than comparable housing in Lancaster and Palmdale. The gleam in the eye of the prospective resident is the fact that Kern County's sales tax rate is 7.25%, while Los Angeles County's rate is 10.25%. Another aspect of this is the growing emergency with homeless people migrating from Los Angeles County to Kern County. With only one supervisor controlling the eastern Kern area of the county, they and their supporting staff will be hard-pressed to manage and/or control growth or attenuate the homeless problem. There is also a question regarding the equitable distribution of revenues to the districts. Combining existing districts 1 and 2 into a new District 1 and a new District 2 being formed in the metropolitan area of Bakersfield creates a quandary. The MALDEF proposal, Plan D, along with County Plans B and C, will force the new District 1 to run almost 2/3 of the county with an allocation of only 1/5 of the revenue. If the allocation is changed to ensure District 1 has more funds, it means the pie will need to be sliced 6 ways rather than 5 as is currently done. If this is not done properly, it will cause irreparable harm to East Kern and its cities, towns, and surrounding areas. In closing, we ask that Kern County stay close to our current course on the district boundaries.
I guess I didn't realize that this MALDEF suit was actually what caused all this. I thought it was just the every 10 years census that caused this redistricting. So, do we know, what it said that the district court found the then Kern County district plan unlawful. If we say, well, don't change it much, do we know what caused them to say that
Well,
it was
that-
unlawful?
That is a part I can't really sort out, to be
Yes.
honest with you.
Well,
Yeah.
TCS stated it in the last meeting I went to. Yes. What caused it to be, why the lawsuit was brought was because they were saying that the number of Hispanic voters versus the number of white voters versus the number of Hispanic candidates for supervisor. So what they're saying is that the Hispanics will vote for the white person before they'll vote for the Mexican person. And then the Mexicans will vote for the white people. Like, everyone will vote for the white people, not the Hispanics. So they're trying to segregate, so they have more of a chance to vote for a Hispanic person, is the way, and a federal court actually found in their favor. And that's why it had to be redistricted 3 years ago. It was redistricted at that point. My question though is still, why do we have to redistrict when we have to do it every 10 years, granted?
Yeah.
But if we just did it 3 years ago, why are we
I guess I didn't even
still
realize we
doing
did it.
this?
I didn't realize we did it
Yeah.
3 years
I
ago.
understand.
I can't tell you that the map that we have today is the same one that we had before that court case.
Oh.
It is not. It is a
Okay.
different
Is the
map.
one we have today, did it
Second
satisfy the
district.
court?
Yeah.
So it's not unlawful now?
I
Right.
think it was changed.
It was changed. That's when second district took on Taft.
Oh, okay,
And
okay,
second district took on a few different,
okay.
areas.
So that change made it lawful.
Yes.
So if we're advocating don't change it much more, it's still
Yes.
lawful. Okay,
Yes.
okay, now.
Correct.
R1 is lawful.
Yeah, okay. That,
I had to waffle in there a little bit because I couldn't find any information.
yeah. I had one minor, little tiny change, but I thought it was
Well,
good.
I'm here to listen.
Oh, and-
Another thing I was shocked to find
Yeah.
out is most of it's based on voter percentages.
Yeah, it was voter
So-
percentage, it's all about
You go
voter
by
percentages,
who can vote.
not
over
by
actual
population.
Population.
Yeah. In the middle of paragraph D, where you, if the base realignment and base closure comes through for another round of hearings, I would say Kern County should not be ill-prepared rather than could be. You know, we argue the positive kind of a thing, but that was the only minor comment I had. I thought it was pretty
Okay.
good.
I don't have a problem with that.
I think it's.
Personally have some issues with the whole second part of paragraph D.
Okay.
The B?
D,
D?
Delta.
Oh,
Okay.
Just not sure where you're going because this is about redistricting the district,
Well, actually, the whole county,
the whole county.
yeah.
yeah.
But you're leading into defense and military and overall national security, and I don't think it necessarily applies to our predicament you're trying to convey.
I think what I'm trying to say is that, you know, you make this change and you make all of this area District 1, and you cut them to the bone, and the military tells the base realignment and closure group that, you know, we're not getting a whole lot of support here, that someone waves the magic wand, all of a sudden Ridgecrest is gone, or Edwards Air Force Base is gone. And that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to put the emphasis here that they need to be looking not only at today, but the next 10 years. We are in a very critical phase in this country. We are very, very close to being put in a position by our adversaries to capitulate.
I know where you're coming from, Brendan. I worked 35 years out of Edwards, and I went through the last bracket. Not quite well, very involved in it years ago. But community input to BRAC is very important in that whole BRAC process. They look at that. So I understand it's kind of an additional emphasis, if you will, on the world situation, but it really kind of, I don't know.
Can I say my reason why I think it's that way?
Yeah.
Because I think maybe you'll understand a little better. Or
Well,
more commonly, more layman for you. So, if we go with that big district, it'll be two bases in one area. There won't be any community support. County support is what Bill's getting at.
Yeah.
Right, am I correct?
Well, that's part of it. I mean,
From the other
you'll-
maps,
you'll-
because it'll put 1 and 2 together, that means they're, Edwards and Ridgecrest. and-
Show me those maps, because I don't have those in front of me. Every one of
yeah,
them.
they're attached in there.
Every one of them have two separate districts here, and that's where I'm confused.
Well,
That
one
is
of
the,
them- yeah.
the new stuff is overlaid on top of the old stuff.
Yeah.
So see how the
Yeah.
lines are different?
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
kind of screwy the way
sorry, sorry, okay.
It really is kind of screwy when you go print them out.
Yeah, so
There's
the
always
Trying to
like-
discern
the
the
colors
difference.
and then the lines will be the new,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay?
Okay, I'm with you.
So, okay, so what they're trying to do is make this all District 1 instead of
I
right now
looked
being
at
just
that all
1
night,
District
not
2.
understood what they were doing.
Yeah.
It,
The only thing might
If we
be,
lose that, it closes down, it
But
comes
it's
back to
every map
what
that's
Bill's
that
trying to
way.
say.
Not
If something
just-
goes wrong
Like
and
1.
our bases are closed down,
Every map.
just because we can't get the support we need, it'd be tragic.
the only thing might be somewhere in paragraph D, and I don't know, would be to further emphasize the need for community support in the BRAC process, and making it all one district would dilute that support. I know you kind of said that in the first sentence or two, but.
I'll tell you, I'm
know
guilty
how
of that in
strong-
my writing of over the mountains through the woods to grandma's house. You know, I did tech writing for a while, and unfortunately, I think that has affected my presentations and things.
I mean, the words in there I think are fine. Maybe either towards the beginning or towards the end of that paragraph, just further emphasize that, you know, community support is an extremely valuable aspect or input, you know, whatever, to BRAC, and combining the districts would severely dilute that, or I think, you know, something to that effect.
Right, right.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
I agree with that. I mean, because if you're on that side of the mountain over there, you don't care about those bases.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, something, either summarizing that near the end or near the beginning to further emphasize it, and then, I mean, the rest of the words in there, I know where you're coming from, and yeah, you know, it is kind of making it worldly, but that really is kind of important, these two bases.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, not totally objective in my opinion, having spent years out there, but, yeah, maybe just one more emphasis of, you know, that would severely dilute our ability to participate in the process or something like that. Because, yeah, I can tell you for a fact, the community support is one of the major things as far as BRAC goes, because, yeah, I mean, you go through hundreds of questions and factors and everything. Community support's a big one.
I just find it very fascinating that all of the real estate that was just like that in the swing of a pen, and now you don't really have any coastal military bases outside of San Diego,
Yeah.
and a small presence up in the Northwest. And it's,
So if Bill emphasizes women more on the relationship, do you think that's okay? Or would you
Yeah.
guys like to go over the rewording of this?
No, I don't need to go with the rewording. It took a turn for me as he was reading it, and I had read it earlier,
Okay.
and I was just like, where is this going? So.
mhm.
Okay.
But now that you see it,
No, I-
the math,
I-
okay.
And I understand.
Yeah, it just,
Yeah.
I just wanted to verify and make clear before we,
we're trying to limit the redistricting of Kern County, and all of a sudden we're talking about China and Russia, and that's like right over there.
got it.
Well, I think the letter is well written. I'm glad we have Bill Parkman on the Rmac. I would add the population of Rosamond. People over the hill don't realize there's 20,000 people here. They still
I
think,
tell you, John, I think that's an underreported number.
I think it is too, but the people on the other side still think of it as 8,000 or 5,000, but it's bigger than that by a lot, and I think we should put that in the letter someplace.
I heard a county official at a meeting say that our western boundary is 43rd Street. 43rd, is what she said.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you said where RCSB is at 35th. The library?
I'll have to go back and listen to the video, but it was some, because there is a sign at 43rd that says, "Welcome to Rosamond."
Oh, really? I guess, what, on
And it's
Rosamond?
population 14,439. Now, if you drive around Rosamond, you'll see different numbers. We got some that say 18,000.
I guess I'm dead into this.
But the point is, the population in Rosamond is far greater than 20,000.
Waste Management picks up 26,000 homes, trash homes.
Really?
So if they pick up 26,000 homes, we have more than 20,000 people.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
and not everybody uses waste management too, so
Exactly.
there's even more homes than that. Wow.
You mean 26,000 bins, or do they stop at
I'm
26,000
thinking
bins?
it's 26,000 bins
Maybe it's
because
26,000.
I don't think there's
Because I've got
20.
neighbors with 2 bins.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
It may be 26,000.
But still, I think you're right overall. I don't think people
I think the
realize.
number's closer to 25 than it is to 20. I've even seen different numbers used by various organizations. I've seen 23,000. So I think it was undercounted because of the pandemic. I think that somebody drove through a neighborhood, yeah, these all look like they have 2.5 residents per unit.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that refuse to answer doors, or refuse to make input and stuff too, so people had to guess.
But at this point, really though, I don't know if that impacts us too much in that regard. Actually, it might cost us more land that we would have to give up to someone else because we are above that median
Oh, yeah.
number.
Yeah, it might push things down. So, sending this letter in, should we still advocate that individuals should send something too?
Correct.
And I'm wondering if we should say, well, we, reference the Rmac net letter, we agree, or we should write our own to.
I tell you, I think everyone should write their own letter. The reason being, we all view things just slightly different. And there are things that I don't even have in the letter that I know that Zach has talked about. For example, Rio Tinto.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about that, but that's an important asset here. But I didn't have enough information on that to be able to throw some words together for that, so I just let that slide by the side. But there are things like that. We have certain historical sites out here in this part of the county that may get short shrift as a result of this redistricting. I mean, we have the Willow Springs Raceway, which is a historical site, and they're under threat from the high-speed rail.
So is the exact Phelan breeding compound from the high-speed rail.
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to just get a sense of, because one of his emails said the next redistricting hearing is on Monday, November 8th at 6 p.m. I guess.
Mhm.
And who ends up voting on all of this stuff? Because the
The Board of
Schedule
Supervisors?
The Board of Supervisors will vote on it, and it'll get probably run up the flagpole to see how many people shoot at it.
They're
Yeah, 'cause
doing
it-
it actually November 16th, it will be voted on, was the last word from the last meeting when we were there.
Oh, okay, because the schedule they had online shows October, November, conduct public hearings, October, November, adjust draft boundary maps, and then legal deadline for the Board of Supervisors to adopt redistricting plan is December 15th. And then the next day is, the filing period opens for candidates to collect signatures. And there's gonna be an election in June, primary.
Yeah, and that's especially true if Plan D,
Yeah.
the EMC plan, is adopted, because it completely
Yeah.
changes the whole structure of the county.
People just need to remember that that pie of general fund, that pie of money. I look at these maps and I'm just flabbergasted that you want to put districts 1 and 2 together for the equality of the people, is how it was stated. And I don't see where equality is in that. That's a huge area to split the pie.
Well, yeah.
Because I know that like District 3, they have county parks, and District 3, they have 2.
Well,
If you put District 1 and 2 together, right now you're looking at about 36 county land parks.
I think
It has
people
to
don't,
split that
yeah,
pie.
I think people don't think about the funding issue when
Right.
they look
Well,
at.
that was kind of my feeling when I was going through this
Yeah.
stuff and looking at the map and saying,
That's why
how
I'm
do you,
concerned.
how do you run 2/3 of the county on 1/5 of the money?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think, if I'm gonna write a letter, the major imbalance in funding, I think,
That's
that needs to be taken into
exactly.
account.
That's a
Yeah,
huge,
population
huge,
is one thing, but man, how are you gonna fund these?
lot of roads, parks.
Yeah, when you look
I
at what the
mean-
county needs to fund, well,
Exactly.
and public safety too, I
Exactly.
would think all of what the county funds needs to be split somewhat adequately 5 ways.
I think the biggest thing that bothered me was when we went to that meeting was I didn't go myself, but I watched it. I should correct myself there. I did watch the meeting. But what struck me about that was when people got up to speak, there is a lot of, I guess, hostility as it relates to the black community. And I'm talking about from the perspective of the other groups. You know, everything is labeled racist and stuff like that, and that doesn't, you know, that doesn't bring home the groceries as far as I'm concerned, because that doesn't do anything except just further polarize things and make it even more difficult to govern.
Yeah, if you put a large population together just solely based on race, but not on funding, you could end up with a lot of people with very little money. Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you know, I'm sorry to skip around, do you know on the 8th, is that gonna be somehow accessible? Do we have to go to Mojave to watch that meeting, or?
I think we have to let them know that we want to watch that. I don't think they automatically do the remotes.
If it's a county meeting, you can watch it live on YouTube.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, that's true, you can.
Oh, okay, so we can see that.
Okay, so we don't have a representative of MalDef here, but I'm just comparing the percentage of voting Latinos on Plan A2 versus Plan B, and I'm not seeing a significant change in the percentages to balance things out. What are we gaining from this? What is the, and I don't expect us to have the answers, but
Well,
if that's how this all started, was the same percentage across each
Well,
district, it didn't change.
yeah, it's, the way I understood it was that
Has to be
things
less
have,
than
things
0.9.
have been structured for so long to disenfranchise anyone that isn't of the primary population group. And you look through it, and I don't see the numbers there that show things. I see this as I was telling Randy before the meeting started. I see this really being more a consolidation of power within certain groups in order to further their political ambitions. And it basically works out that 3 districts will be majority Latino and 2 will be majority Caucasian. But if you drill down into the numbers, and they even talked about it in the meeting, a lot of the Latino voters vote almost the same way as the white voters do. There's very little difference. And they talk about, well, by doing all this, we'll have more chances for Latinos to be elected. And we talked about that at length. And the thing is I don't think it's going to change that rapidly. I mean, in the 10 years since the last census, it doesn't look like we've grown, especially if you look at this count and you say that this count is totally factual. It hasn't really grown that much. There hasn't been a massive shift.
It's also kind of like you said earlier, I don't know, I mean, I personally don't vote for a candidate based on their race. I wonder how many people really do. White, Latino, or anything else, I don't know. But you look at the qualifications, I wonder how many people do that.
Well, it's like the lieutenant governor that was elected in Virginia yesterday. Outstanding. I'm
haven't looked at that.
really glad to see that. Ex-military, African American, a woman.
But they
All those
actually,
check
in the
marks in-
supervisors, the last meeting
Yeah.
that I attended, in the meeting, one of the ladies who got up to speak, she actually asked, turn around to the audience, and you're really not supposed to do this. But she turned around and she asked, she's all, how many white people would vote for a Hispanic or a black candidate who was
With qualified.
qualified? The whole room raised their hand.
Yeah.
The whole room. It doesn't matter, it's just, it's perception. So,
When you read Zach's description of the November 8th meeting, because at first I was wondering, well, should we wait to send this letter in, or anybody else's letter, until after that to hear the gist of what goes on there? But
No,
they're saying basically, he's saying send it in before that.
yeah, he wants it before that.
Yeah.
as soon as you can, yeah.
Now, does everybody know where to send their letters and everything? Do you know probably read about this?
Yeah.
I would say you send it to District 2 office attention to Zach.
Yeah, that's what you got here in the heading, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, just to make sure it's spread
The-
around where to send it.
Yeah, and it's on the draft letter here. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is, I don't want to give Zach the impression that we're trying to make sure that he's going to do what we want him to do by going around and telling everybody else. We'll tell him. I did put Kathleen Kraus down here because she's the clerk of the board, and Zach is going to look at it and he's going to tell Kathleen, you know, and just kind of trying to help that process a little bit.
Okay, so is there a website we can submit this? I mean,
Yes.
tomorrow?
Yes, Kern
Okay.
County Board of Supervisors, draft maps 2021.
Okay, because that was the other thing I was gonna ask, can
Yes.
we email something maybe?
Yeah.
There- There's a section on there, so go to the Kern County Board of Supervisors website,
Okay.
and then there's a section on there that says, is it draft maps?
Draw map. I think it says draw map, but
Yeah, you have the ability to draw one up there, but I played with that thing for a couple hours today.
But on there where you can draw a map,
Yeah,
then
they
you
said
can
they
also
haven't
do a
got
comment.
A successful pen-drawn one come in yet.
Oh, okay, yeah, because it says community involvement, and it says submit a map proposal, define your community of interest, or view community draw down maps, so there must be some way on there.
Yes.
That say
Yeah, there's
Yes.
a little,
website
It
there.
little
says
thing you click
comment,
on.
your own map,
Okay.
there's several little links
So
to,
that would be the best probably to get something in time, I would think. Maybe even reply back to his email, send a copy to him. Zach and,
Yeah, I know they take into account all the letters and emails.
Yeah, they will look at all the letters, they certainly will.
yeah, so maybe if you both mail yours and submit it electronically through one of these ways,
My
just
point
make sure
being
it's.
is even if you get it in the mail tomorrow, it won't get to
Yeah.
Bakersfield on Monday by meeting time, right?
Yeah, yeah, so,
Emails.
yeah.
Well, normally what I do with correspondence that goes to Bakersfield, I send it electronically and then I follow it with a hard
Yeah,
copy.
I think that's a good idea.
okay, so I actually have it here, it's Kern County 2021 Redistricting Boundary Maps. And it has all of them in here,
Mhm.
and then you can go ahead and add your comment.
Yeah, because, yeah, in fact, one of them that said get involved, you know, I didn't look at it, I was just printing some of the stuff out just before I left home, so, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so, all right, I think we're good.
Do we, when we formalize this by determining if we want to send this to Zach?
Do I
One.
motion it? That we send it to Zach?
I'll second.
All
Sounds
in
good.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. 4 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and we have 2 absentees.
Is it fair to say, instead of putting the numbers in there, say unanimous? Sounds more convincing than something like that.
You can, I suppose.
Unanimous with 2 absent.
Yeah.
you could say the audience is unanimous.
Yeah, the audience. took
Standing
a vote.
ovation,
We're
please,
unanimous.
standing ovation for the letter. The audience cheered.
The thing that I will say before we kind of try to wrap this up is population growth is going to take care of this problem, regardless of what we do and say and stuff like that. In 2030, 2040, the largest group of the demographic is going to be Latino. I don't think there's anyone that can argue that point that it wouldn't be. The birth rate for those folks is certainly different than what the average is for white families. I think white families are considered to be 2.5, and I think Latino families are 2.8, 2.9. So, the numbers eventually get to where there is that plurality that they may be seeking, and it will be there in its own due time.
Plus the population, I think the distribution of population may change. I don't know that Bakersfield itself is going to grow. You would imagine that around the edges, or edges if you will, or the outskirts where it's less populated would have more growth, and so that might cause some of those lines to shift just the population density.
Well, I think, like I was talking about in this letter, I think with what they're doing with the petrochemical industry, and they're basically holding a pillow over its head,
Yes.
and they want to make it go away. That's going to have a profound effect on this county. Solar energy does not supplant that income stream.
No.
We've been to enough meetings with the county to realize that, we're getting pennies where we were getting dimes and before. Dimes and quarters. So. All right.
Well, your point's well taken. You just have to look at the demographics of the Southern Kern Unified School District right now.
Oh, okay.
First grade, second grade, kindergarten, everything. It's weighted in favor of Hispanic surname people.
Yeah.
However, many of them do not speak Spanish at all. Don't know
Yeah.
how to speak Spanish. So it's a changed demographic.
Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else, but I was born and raised in Mississippi. And I got a education in life that I found as I became an adult was out of sync and out of step with what a human being was supposed to be and where our hearts were supposed to be and stuff like that. And so my attitude changed in a lot of things. I married a woman of color. My family is multi-ethnic. I have sons that are Filipino German, and they're married to spouses that are Latino. So I have my own small United Nations.
Yeah. Wow.
Me too.
So I think these are things that too many people like to just stir it up because it keeps their agenda in play
Yeah. Yeah.
rather than what's good for all of us.
Yeah. 'Cause you're right, the agenda and the motivation is a big thing in some of this stuff.
Okay,
Well, thank you for taking the lead on the letter to you. I thought it was very well done.
okay. With that, if anyone does not have anything else on this, I'm going to go ahead and move into director's comments.
I have no comment.
No? But Lisa?
I am good for now.
Brennan?
I'm gonna wait for 2 weeks, but I still wanna know why I'm setting my clock back this Sunday. When we voted against it 3 years ago.
I will.
I thought it was changed too, and it just died.
I went back a couple of months to make sure I knew what I was talking about, and that passed.
I thought but the vote, thought, and I haven't gone back to look at it, authorized somebody, some legislature or whatever it is, to make the change, but they haven't made the change. I thought that's what the vote was. It didn't mandate that we change it, it authorized somebody to change it if they wanted to, or something like that, but,
It's 3 years.
yeah.
We said we want it.
Yeah, I think it's the state legislature that has
I
to
forgot, we
change.
voted on that.
Everything takes 5 years. And I tell people that all the time, and they go, no, I can't take that long.
I think the older I'm getting, the more I go with the flow of some things. It's just not worth it anymore. But,
Okay, I think we're down to the point of an adjournment.
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Meeting's adjourned at 7:54.